JG Harding here again at NAB in Las Vegas. I'm here with Paul at the Sound Devices stand, who's going to show us through a little bit of the 788T and a new control surface. Right, take it away, Paul.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I'm just going to give you a bit of a background on the system that we're looking at here. The 788T is a 12-track portable recorder that has 8 mic preamps and records to either solid-state drive, hard drive, compact flash, or almost any external media via FireWire. About a year ago, we released an optional accessory called the CL8, which provides a bank of 8 faders, and this allows a production sound mixer to not only record discrete tracks for each of their microphone sources or line sources, but they can also now record a mix with really simple large faders, and those can be recorded on a couple of extra tracks. So this was primarily aimed at over-the-shoulder type applications, run and gun type applications, but we had many users saying that they wanted to also use the system on a cart for film work and music recording and a range of other applications. So in the last month or so, we have released the CL9 control surface. Now, this again is an 8-fader control panel. These faders control your mix, and we have an input trim pot for each of our 8 inputs. This enables the user to record very simply 8 tracks as ISO tracks, individual tracks controlled by the trim level, and then to use the 8 faders to record the level of each of those inputs into the mix tracks, the stereo mix, which is generally used as the delivery and the main working tracks for the editors. Now the CL9 connects to the main 788T via a single USB umbilical cable here. So all the data control and the powering is via this single cable. We take the monitoring signal from the 788 from the headphone output, and that connects into the rear of the CL9, and that allows us to listen to all the signals via the headphone outputs on the front of the CL9 here. Those monitoring signals can actually be actually mixed with 2 further return line inputs on the rear of the CL9, and those return inputs are generally used as camera return monitoring points or as return from boom op or direct to talkback signals. So the CL9 also introduces a range of really other interesting functions. We've included EQ, so we can apply an EQ to an input. For instance, if you're wearing a lapel mic under some clothing and it's sounding muffled, we can add a bit of boost at high frequency to improve the signal. So these are full bandwidth parametric EQs with plus or minus 12 dBs of gain, and also adjustable Q factor. The EQ frequency is accessed by pressing this button, the EQ gain by this button, and both at the same time to adjust your Q factor. So these pots here are actually multifunction rotary encoders for each input, 1 to 8. But as I've mentioned, these by default are your trim controls, and the trim levels are shown in the display as you adjust them. When I press any of these mode buttons, they change their function. So when I press the EQ frequency button, now these are EQ frequency controls, and you can see the variable EQ frequency in the display. We also have full pan control of the inputs now, which is ideal for music recording. So by selecting pan, I can pan each input in a full pan field, and you can see the pan setting in the display. So I'm adjusting the pan for input 6 at the moment, and now I'm adjusting the pan for input 3. We can adjust output levels of the device as well, because this has 6 outputs, which can be freely configured to any combination of signals, and used for feeding signal to Video Village, for talkback signals to the boom op and backup devices and various other devices. So we also have transport controls here. Record and stop. There's a half-second delay on the stop button so you don't accidentally stop recording. There's a built-in slate mic in here, which I can trigger from here or the CL8, and that allows me to make general announcements to the various crew members. Simply press the shift button and then activate slate. Now you can see my voice speaking on these meters. I've also got the ability to activate a tone generator too. So I'm routing tone to the first 4 tracks.
So that's quite a solid and easy access controller, a very comprehensive piece of kit, isn't it?
There's a huge range of functionality in this box, and what this does is bring out 95% of that functionality into a very easy access method. I mean, I can talk for quite a long time about this, so I'm not going to bore you, but just another really nice feature is the ability to very quickly track arm from here. We have our 12 tracks. Just by pressing disarm the track. Now, I can also use these to solo a track, so it's very easy to monitor what's going to a track. If I just hold any of these buttons for a second, it flashes green, and that tells me I'm soloing it, and I'm hearing only what's going to that track. Now, interestingly, when I'm in this mode, I can also choose which of these 8 inputs I route to that track. So, for instance, if I want all my inputs to be routed to the left mix track, which is something that I would normally want to do, then I can very quickly just press these encoders in and route them. So this is showing that I've got all my inputs routed to that left track at the moment. I might just deselect one, so I've now just got 7 inputs going to that input. I can route those inputs to that track, pre-fade or post-fade. The red indicates they're going post-fade. If I press any one of these buttons, they all change to green, and that indicates that I'm routing them pre-fade now. So you can see how immediate and quick this is. I can come out of there and it's very flexible. One thing I forgot to mention is that there are dedicated master level pots for the left and right mix track, but also auxiliary tracks 1 and 2. And these can be used for like a spare mix, which you might use for feeding a different combination of inputs to a director or something like that. So there's a huge amount of flexibility here. I mean,
it really does let you do quite a lot with
and I haven't even spoken about the comms yet. We've really spent a lot of time working out what a sound mixer needs to talk publicly to the whole crew set member, but also privately to various crew members, like boom ops. I mean, so we've provided 2 private line communication, bidirectional communication systems. We call them COM1 and COM2, and just by activating a switch, I can program a slate mic, a built-in mic in here, or an external mic to be routed to whoever I want privately, so they can hear me talking. And when I'm holding that switch in place, that comms switch in place, I'm also hearing them talk back to me, and they talk back to me via these return inputs. The routing for that can be configured from the 788 menu itself. There's a menu here called the CL, called comms routing. So if I can just here, and in here I can select which outputs that slate mic signal will get routed to. So that gives you a very brief overview of this. There's a lot more in there, and I hope that gives it. And
how much would each of these set you back?
Okay, so the standalone 788 is $5,995 US. The CL8 fader accessory option is $995, and the CL9 is $2,250.
There's plenty of features there to keep you busy as well.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Thanks.
Thank you.